I welcome you in this lesson. This lesson will finalize our topic, coordinate geometry, and then shall be just waiting for you to pass this question wherever you find the questions relating to this. So, I teacher Musana Yusuf, Seremba Online School. Our lesson is going to be handling the equation of a perpendicular bisector. So, if you have not watched the first two lessons that we have done, don't watch this one before you have understood the concept of perpendicular lines. So, and parallel lines. So here, we are going to be discussing the perpendicular bisector. What is a bisector? For those who know in construction, the bisector is a line which divides the line into two equal parts. If it is a bisector as a line, it divides the line into two equal parts. So, that's why we call it a perpendicular bisector. So, look at this. If this line passes through 2 points, then the perpendicular bisector, to get its equation, there is some uniqueness thing that we are introducing in here, is the concept of the midpoint. Since it is a bisector, then it must be passing through the midpoint of the line. Otherwise, what I mean here is that it divides the line into two equal parts. So if you divide the line into two equal parts, what does it mean? It means that it has to pass through the what? The midpoint of the line. So the concept of the bisector, or the idea is that you should be able to find the midpoint. So this is the steps. I've summarized the steps here. So always memorize these steps if you are going to pass this question. So the steps are clear. You first find the midpoint. The midpoint of the line M. So how do you get the midpoint of this line L1? You get it as you use your x1 plus x2, you divide, you get the coordinate of the midpoint, because a bisector passes through the midpoint of that line. That's where it passes, because it divides the line into two equal parts. So that means it has to pass through the midpoint of that line. So after that, find using the concept of the gradient of perpendicular line, because one, since this is a perpendicular bisector, it means it is perpendicular at L1. Since these two lines, L1 is perpendicular, this is the perpendicular bisector, this one. It is a perpendicular bisector, that line. Since it is a perpendicular bisector, then that line is perpendicular to L1, and you hear the word perpendicular. So we shall use the concept of perpendicular lines, or the concept of perpendicular line that we have just studied in the previous lesson, that the product of two lines are said to be perpendicular if the product of their gradient is equal to -1. So that's the concept we are going to use. M1 times M2 is equal to -1. So we shall use that concept. So we shall say this, from this we can find the gradient of what? I've said since L1 and L2 are perpendicular. So the concept will help you to find the gradient of what? So we shall use the gradient of this. Now, if they gave you this in point form, then you are going to go ahead and find the gradient of this as, because the gradient of M1, the gradient of this M1 in this case is given by, grad M1 is given by y, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. That's how we get it. Since, unless if they give you this as an equation, then if they give you this as an equation, you rearrange that equation in form of ymx plus c. In case the line, the equation of this line is given in form of ax plus by equals c, or if it is given directly in this form, then the gradient is given by this. If it is given in this form, like they give you 2y minus 4x equals 7, then you rearrange this equation. This is the form I'm talking about. You rearrange this equation and divide, then make y the subject. You rearrange it in this form. The gradient will be given by that. So then that's the gradient which you are going to use in this form. So then from there, you use this m, and you use the gradient, you use the midpoint m, which you have found here, and the gradient to find the equation. That is, we are going to use y minus y1 is equal to m into x minus x1. That's the idea. So from there, you can be able to find the equation of the line. Let us look at the example and then see. So in case you want to get in, you can just replay this video and then you'll be able, or you can pause, you write, and then we go on. So that is what we are saying. So in that case, let us take the example, and then we see what to do. Good. So let us do the example, class. So what does the example, or what does it require for us to do this example? We just have, they said, find the equation of a perpendicular bisector of the line joining this point. Oh my God. So you take the sketch. So solution, I'll draw the sketch. I know this line must pass through the midpoint. So the point where it passes first is 4, 8. And where it passes, this line passes through this point, 8, 16. So very good. So this is the line L1, this is the line L2. So we need to get the midpoint. That's the first step we do. So 1 midpoint, which is given by x1 plus x2, you divide by 2, y1 plus y2, you divide by 2. So you call this point x1, you name the usual way, x2, then y2, like you get the gradient. So you substitute, so you shall have, this will give you the gradient as 4 plus 8 over 2, and then 8 plus 16 over 2. So when you try to divide that, and try to do some computation there, so we shall have that point as, this will give you, this is 8, this is 12, divide by 2, that is a 6, this is 24, divide by 2, that is a 12. So you have that as the midpoint where the line passes. So from there, let us get the gradient of this line, because we know where the line passes. So do we know the gradient of this line? No. So let us get the gradient of L1. So grad of L1 will be equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So y2 is, that is 16. Then y1 is 8. Then x2 is 8 minus 4. So reducing this, this is 8, this is 4. So 8, 4, and that is 2. So the grad, this implies that the grad L1 is equal to 2. So having got the grad L1, L of line 1, these lines are perpendicular. The next thing is to use this gradient, to get this, because this line are perpendicular. So we say since L1 and L2 are perpendicular, then I said I use that because of I'm just lazy to write the word perpendicular. Then M1 times M2 is -1. So you substitute this gradient of M of line 1, you have got it. So if this was an equation, you could have rearranged this equation to get, mathematics not crammed, to get the gradient properly. So it is just a matter of substituting 2 times M2 equals -1. So it implies that M2 will be equal to -1 out of 2. So we have got the gradient of that. Now using this point, which is what we have got. Now take note of this question. Should you fail this, you will have lost marks for almost the whole number. Because you will just get 1 marker here, but you will have lost marks for almost the whole number. Because you are going to use this point, then you do what? Also, should you fail this, you are going to almost lose marks for the remaining parts, because you are going to use this question. You are going to use this gradient you have just got here. Then you use it to get the gradient of the second line, which you also fail. So you fail this, you have failed this, then you fail the whole equation. So from here, the examiner will cross everything that you will get, because you are not consistent, or you are not going to be correct. So some people, they say, so using the point we have got 6, 12, and the gradient, our M2 is what? Because the line passes through this point. The gradient of the line we have got it is -1/2. So from y minus y1 equals to m into x minus x1. So substitute. This call this one x, this is y. So like that. So this minus 12 equals, the gradient is -1/2 x minus 6. So to remove the fraction, multiply both sides by 2. So y minus 12, yes, equals, I see people always are computing, good. So they are multiplying here, we see 2, that is minus 24 we see this negative x plus 6. So I see the class is collecting the like terms. Bring x this side, 24 the other side. So we have 2 plus x equals to 6 plus 24. And then this will give you 2y plus x equals to 30, which is the equation of the line. So therefore, the equation of a perpendicular bisector is that one. Wonderful, wonderful. So we have been able to get the equation of a perpendicular bisector. You say, therefore, the equation of a perpendicular, I'll just use this symbol because I'm lazy. Perpendicular bisector is 2y plus x equals 30. So that's how we could find that. So we have been able to know how to get I said, first get the midpoint. After getting the midpoint, then you need to know the gradient of the first line. If the gradient of the first line is not given in terms of the general equation of the line or in terms of the equation of the line, you do it like this. You find this gradient. The answer you get, you use it to find the gradient of the what? The second line. Since the two lines are perpendicular, then product of their gradient is equal to negative 1. So from there, substitute the gradient of the first line you have got, and then you do what? You'll be able to find the gradient like how we have got. Then from there, proceed normally. The only problem will be to do what? To make the mistake. So make sure you put brackets. Most students, they don't put bracket here. They fail. Others, so make sure you employ. Don't forget this negative. You see, I've tried not to forget it, because when you forget, it will affect you. So that is how you can get the equation of the perpendicular bisector. Let me give you this for trial, and then you also find the equation of a perpendicular bisector. That's nice. So how does it say? It says, find the equation of a perpendicular bisector. The exercise says, find the equation of a perpendicular bisector of the line passing through the points. Find the equation of a perpendicular bisector of the line. Find the equation of a perpendicular bisector of the line passing through the points. That is -3, -6, and -1, 4. I will give you 6 marks to do this question. So you should be able to find, but this does not mean that you only have to do only that one number. No, you have to practice a lot of, have to get a lot of questions, find so many that you could try in this area, and then that's when you master mathematics. You know, mathematics has basic principle. The principle is practice makes you to be what? Perfect. In this world, nothing is not repeated. If you think there is something done once, it is not possible. You can never find something that can be done once. It is always you do something at least more than one time. Then that's when you can perfect. The reason why they call that somebody is experienced, it is because of how many times has been able to go through the different activities he or she has been doing. Then they say he's an experienced person. I'm an experienced teacher, a senior teacher in mathematics, because I've tried so many things, so many numbers, and now I've mastered my concept. So make sure you also do the same. This topic has ended like this, and the lessons are full covered. We have them. Any question you can ask, you could ask it through our platform. You could play the video, replay the video several times, such that you could be able to understand the concept. Thank you very much for learning mathematics on Seremba Online School. We wish you the best in your academic future. I remain teacher Musana Yusuf. Keep on finding me in the Seremba Online School and other platforms that you are able to discuss with me mathematics. I wish you the best. Bye-bye.